So, because it is the month of December, we thought we would go a bit more Christmassy. We've got a Christmas tree and fairy lights.
Some new lighting. Just a bit of a mood.
Yeah, a bit more warm tone.
Right. And then we've also got a different type of video coming out.
Yeah, we decided we'd start doing some vlogs.
So, for this first vlog, now that it's winter, it's time to get really cozy. What's the best cozy drink, Siobhan?
Hot chocolate. If you said coffee, you're wrong.
I mean, that probably would have been my ideal answer, but anyways. So, the trend right now, I think, is hot chocolate bombs.
Yeah.
And I was literally messaging Siobhan this morning, and I was like, let's make hot chocolate bombs. And so, that's what we did.
Should we explain what they are, or just like...
It's just kind of a chocolate that's got hot chocolate inside. It's just chocolate on chocolate. And actually, I don't know what they're supposed to do. I just saw pictures of them, but I guess they're just supposed to melt in hot water or hot milk.
It's kind of like, you can get those desserts where they have like...
They melt.
Yeah, you've put a brownie and then they've put the chocolate dome on top. It's supposed to look like that, so when you pour milk on, it kind of...
I think these, though, are a little bit thicker because I had a bit of a hard time pulling them out of the casing, the silicone case, and they were breaking. So they are quite thick, so I don't think they're exactly what we need them to be, but it was the first attempt. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Milana's going to use the chocolate bomb, or hot chocolate bomb. I'm going to do it just the traditional way and see if it's any different.
Right. So, this is the leftover from the hot chocolate bombs. Maybe just because they're kind of small, it only took about half of this packet.
But that's also really big.
Yeah. So, I think that's going to be perfect for this.
So, this has got 30 grams in it.
Yes.
So,
all right.
Let's see. I'll probably use maybe like...
Right, and I'm going to put one whole one in.
Actually, you gave me a lot of milk, so maybe I'll use a bit more than half. But I'm also going to put the rest of the melted chocolate. Well, not the rest of it, because that's a lot.
Oh, it is melting. It's definitely, like, melted.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
I'm putting in 2 spoons. I like chocolate.
So it is making my cup a little messy, but it's kind of cute.
I mean, it's never gonna be cute. I don't think.
It is cute, Siobhan.
Oh, I don't have a spoon. Oh, well, I'll use this spoon.
Oh, I was just going to give you my spoon after.
Oh, well, I have this spoon now.
So I'm one of those people who puts milk, hot chocolate, and then milk. Because I feel like the hot chocolate just then kind of sits at the top.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Australia we have a drink called Milo, and they also have it in the Philippines.
I have heard of it.
It's Australian. And the best thing you do is you put milk in, you put Milo, you put it in the microwave, and the Milo becomes like a Milo cake, and you eat it. Like, you just, it becomes solid hard, and you eat it. It's the best thing ever.
Okay.
I'm happy with mine.
Oh my gosh, the smell. It's like extra chocolatey. Smell this.
I can't smell it.
You can't smell the chocolate?
I have really bad sense of smell. I can smell it. Oh.
Alright.
But never trust my sense of smell. The house could be on fire.
Alright. Jan.
I don't want to burn my tongue.
I don't know. It just tastes like hot chocolate.
I mean, what did you expect? It was...
Well, I thought because there was like actual like more chocolate with it. I thought that chocolate would give it a stronger flavor. But it's just
do you want some more chocolate?
Yeah, I guess. Is it melted enough?
Here, I'll use your spoon.
Yeah, I'll use my spoon.
It melts in the milk very quickly.
Are you someone who drinks hot chocolate really fast?
Yeah.
Like when it's like right at the right temperature? Oh, thank you. Like I can down this in less than 30 seconds if I really wanted to.
I have to wait for it to cool down because I have a very heat-sensitive tongue. So
But, like, once it's, like, cooled down and...
Oh, yeah, I could scull it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a piggy and I just like drinking chocolate, so, yeah. Should we start talking about what's on today's episode?
Sure.
I've ordered something like a little menu board, so from like now on, not now onwards, obviously.
Once we get it.
Once we get it, we can have like, the menu will be what we will talk about. It's a really cute idea and I hope everyone will like it. But what's the menu for today?
So today's menu, the biggest one is kind of a really heavy topic.
Yeah.
This is kind of a heavier episode. It is going to be about mental health, which is kind of a big deal here in Korea, especially with the suicide rates and everything. And then I guess we can see where that takes us.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Is there a controversial topic of today?
Let's see. Sweet pickles with your pizza. Yeah. That's a thing. We ate pizza earlier, and it came with sweet pickles.
So there's mental health being like anxiety, depression. Then there's also mental health, like learning disabilities.
Right.
Neither are talked about in Korea.
I mean, not to the extent that we're used to. And there, although have been more resources, I think, there's not as many as, again, we are used to.
It's like in America or Australia, you could go to, there's so many online websites, like, where they, like, BetterHelp and,
Yeah, actually, I was just looking at BetterHelp the other day.
A lot of them are, like, 24 hours, or you can, like, you pay for, like, a month and you can, like, directly message your counselor.
Right. There's so many options.
But here, if you go to the doctor and say, hey, I've got depression, I've got anxiety, I need help, what do I do? Either they will give you medicine, or they will make you go to, like, the mental health side of the hospital, where, like, you know, you get not straitjacketed, but, like...
Really?
Some person was like, yeah, I need to, like... what's the word for, like, putting yourself in a hospital? Not, it's not invent, when you make yourself a patient.
Self-admit.
Yes. So you can be self-admitted to hospitals. I've heard of a few foreigners have that happen to them. They won't say, hey, go to this counselor or, you know, talk to this person.
Right. It's really not seen as... it's kind of viewed upon negatively here.
It's like, it's not viewed, oh, you know, you're just a little bit sick at the moment. It's like, no, there's something wrong with you and we don't want to admit that.
Right. And a lot of it comes from the high stress pressures here, which are part of the Korean culture.
You know, you go to work at 7 a.m., you don't go home till like 8, 9, 10 p.m.
Yeah. So, like, the pressures of work, the stress of work, then the pressures of society, the stress of society. Korea's a very, like, high-pressure country.
You're supposed to act a certain way because you are male or you are female or you are young, you are old. You always have to be on the, like, be careful of your role compared to others.
And there's always the stress, especially of the beauty industry here. Your appearance here is very important. These days, I'm noticing a lot of younger Koreans are trying to break the standards, which is amazing. And I think that in the coming years, there will be a huge change because I feel like a lot of the younger Koreans are pretty woke about this situation.
Was it 4 years ago? I think there was an article which was saying that there was this group of women that were like, I'm not going to wear makeup to work, I'm rebelling. And it's like, I wear makeup once a month. And so for me, that was, like, cool. But for them, it's a really big deal.
Right, cutting their hair short. I think it's a trend now. But a lot of women have been giving themselves kind of boycotts. And whether it be for a trend or because it's really what you want to do, it's breaking the standard of having the long, beautiful hair that's like permed at the ends. It's breaking that really feminine standard of life, beauty standard here, which is really, really important.
And I wonder if was bound to happen, or if there's some K-pop influence there, or if K-pop is mimicking what is happening, is changing.
I think it was naturally bound to happen, just because of the way society works and the way society, evolves. Like, even over in the States, things are changing from one view to another view. It's always changing, and I think Korea's getting there.
Do you think that the increase of like English language and the increase of the internet has helped to that?
I definitely think the increase of the internet has helped. Because, think about it. Back in the 1950s, for example, people...
we talk about 1950s Korea? Because that's a really bad time to talk about.
No. Just like, I guess 1950s in the Western world. Like, it was kind of, everyone wore the same outfit, had the same hairstyle. Everything was just the same. Everyone lived in like a white picket house. Women were expected to stay at home. Men went to work. That's just what the expectation was.
The suburban dream, or whatever it's called, the white suburban dream.
The American dream. But I think with the introduction of social media these days is allowing people to comfortably break out of those standards and be like, this is me. Yeah.
Okay. Then, what I found interesting when I came here to get my medical test for my E2 visa, the clinic I went to, they had a sign, like one of those big boards that were like, hey, come to us for these kind of things. It was specifically about mental health. It was about ADD, ADHD. And while they're far and few between, there are some that do exist. Unfortunately, that clinic was obviously like a GP kind of place. It's a negwa. So it won't have counselors, but it's advertising as being mental health friendly.
Right, and I just want to add something. We are on E2 visas. If you even check... So when you apply for an E2 visa, you have to do kind of a self-health check. On that self-health check, if you check yes to anything, you're automatically not qualified for this visa. That's just kind of a thing.
So you could tick, one of them is a mental health category, and one of them, like if you tick saying, yes, I have had depression or I have depression, even if you're medicated, you're, coping.
Yeah. There was a girl back when I worked at my old school, she had checked yes on, I think it was the depression category. She had to get so many letters from her doctor saying she was fine now, she isn't on any medication, she's healthy, just to be able to get this visa.
So a lot of people do lie, which is unfortunate, and it's a shame for society that they have to lie. So we're hoping that it does change.
Yeah. I mean, I do know someone who, once she was already in Korea, was getting help for, I think it was anxiety. And the director knew about it, and I think he was, okay with it. Like, it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Once you meet the person and you, spend some months with them and go, oh, wait, this person's normal, and then they're like, oh, I have depression. It's like, oh, that's what depression is?
Yeah.
You're not, cooped up inside, becoming a alcoholic? Huh?
Right. And, I just want to point out, when you are working in a hagwon, which is where we are working, it's just a private academy, you don't get days off.
No.
You don't get mental days off.
You're allowed 10 days a year off.
And that's, vacations.
Yeah. So, I'm really fortunate. I work at a place where my head teacher, if I said, I'm not coping, I need a day off, she would happily give me a day off. Mm-hmm. But I'm very, very fortunate.
Right. Most places do not do that. You're coming in no matter how dead you are.
If you wanted to get a day off, you'd have to go to the doctor and get a doctor's note.
Yeah. And most likely, you're going to have to go to work first get approved to go to the doctor, and then go get a doctor's note. So you're like, that really, you're not going to get those days off if you are struggling. So if you really are struggling with your mental health, I personally don't recommend you come at the moment. Because you're not going to be able to have those breaks.
With all that entails.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're coming from a country where you can't even leave your house, then at least Korea is a step up because you can still go to the park, still go for walks.
Right. But if you're expecting to be able to get those days off when you're not feeling your best, you're most likely not going to be able to. And that can affect your enjoyment here.
Which I think that's a good segue into what I want to talk about next. So I do have a very sensitive stomach. I have IBS. I'm missing a gallbladder.
Me too.
Yay for that gallbladder life. So when I first, before, I lived here for a year on exchange, but when I was talking to my friends about coming back this time, I was always messaging them going, guys, I'm sick again. I'm in the bathroom, vomiting my guts up. A few of them were quite worried, what are you going to do while you're teaching and you just have the urge to, be sick? I'm really fortunate. I work at a school where I can. I've told them all, guys, I get sick very quickly. If I leave, I leave. But thankfully, with IBS in Korea, if yours is food related, vegetables are a bit expensive here, but you can find them at markets where it's at an affordable price. So if you're very good about making sure you eat foods only that you can eat and don't eat the foods you can't eat, you can manage that side of it quite well. If you have stress IBS, then it'll be a bit harder, I think.
Yeah. For me, I definitely know that I've been, my stress level has been really high these days because I've messed up my jaw, actually. So I have a grinding and clenching problem. And last weekend, I guess I was just under so much stress, I, not dislocated my jaw, but I did clench my jaw to a point where I can't fully properly open it comfortably. And that's never happened to me. So, it is very high stress.
And unfortunately, Milana did go to the dentist, and they're like, here, take some medicine. But Korean medicine doesn't work.
They did give me some pretty strong stuff, but it kind of... That's another thing. I couldn't take the day off work the next day, even though the medicine made me super drowsy, and I still woke up drowsy. I had to go to work. I had to.
Because there isn't a lot of, often a lot of the teachers have got such a tight schedule that it would be impossible to find a replacement.
Yeah.
You're luckier because you have a Korean teacher in your room with you.
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No.
I thought you had a co-teacher.
We do, but we switch off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so I don't have a co-teacher either. I'm by myself. I teach... My shortest day is 2 hours, but it's such an odd day.
You're so lucky.
My biggest day is 6
You're
hours.
So lucky. My biggest day is 8 classes, 8 40-minute classes. My smallest day is 5 40-minute classes. A big red flag about the mental health problem here is the suicide rates.
Korea and Japan have the highest suicide rate in the world.
Whether it be a student, an office worker, a celebrity. We're seeing celebrity deaths so often these days.
There was one a few months ago, a volleyball player?
Oh, I don't know. But I know,
sporting star?
Last month there was 2 months ago, there was a comedian. Really famous comedian. And she was found with her mom.
Oh, really?
And actually, I kind of dug a little bit deeper into this. And what I'm thinking is part of the problem was that her skin, I guess, had some intense sensitivity to sunlight.
Ooh. Ooh.
And as we all know, sunlight provides, what is it, vitamin D?
Yep.
You have chocolate or...
It's from Dish. I'm sure I had chocolate everywhere.
Here's a wet napkin. A wet wipe. A wool tissue. Wool tissue. Anyways, back to this. So she had, I think, a skin condition where she was allergic to the sun.
It exists. You can also be allergic to water.
Yeah, so... I mean, probably with the lack of help mentally from that, she was probably getting...
Also, vitamin D and the sun really helps with depression.
Yeah.
It's just being out in the sun, being out in nature. The sun releases some happy chemical in you, so she was probably already a bit sad because of that.
Right. So, suicide is a big thing, especially with celebrities who, even though we complain about our work schedules, sometimes, especially idols here, they get no break.
They wake up at like 4 a.m. in order to get their hair, their makeup done, and they don't finish their schedules till like midnight,
and
1
then
a.m.
They get home, they probably don't have a proper meal, that affects your mood. It's just a whole cycle that just affects your health here. And I think I remember some idol saying, I heard something about, I don't remember who it was, but I heard this idol who had committed suicide. It might have been Jonghyun from SHINee. I heard he was getting mental health counseling.
Oh, really?
I think so. But in the end, it just didn't help. And at that point, is it the problem with the mental health counseling here? Does he need something more? Did he need something more? Or, you know?
He needed to leave the idol life. Or
Yeah.
I'm going to change that sentence completely. The idol life needs to change.
100%. 100%.
So it's probably a fault of the entertainment companies.
Right.
I'm sure that, yes, that like he was getting help and seeing a counselor, but with how recent counselors have become a thing here, maybe not trained the best.
Right. And then Sully with the cyberbullying.
Which upsets me so much because a lot of international fans were like, don't cyberbully, that is horrible. There's a K-pop website that I follow on Facebook. So many times I will read for international fans saying like they're ugly, they can't sing, they're not pretty enough. And it upsets me because these international fans are like, oh, we're better than the Korean fans. But go and do the exact same thing.
Right. Cyberbullying is really terrible, and
especially
it's from everywhere.
The industry, K-pop it thrives in social media. The reason why things like BTS became so big is because of social media. So if it's going to be used to tear the person down...
Yeah. It's disgusting what these people say to them. And in the end, it makes, unfortunately, some of these people, and I'm not just talking about idols, I mean like anyone, it makes people feel so worthless. And in the end, unfortunately, these people do take their lives or attempt to. And it makes me wonder if the people who are cyberbullying realize that's what they're leading some of these people to.
Because even a comment as simple as, you know, I think so-and-so is better, that could be the tipping point for someone.
Right. And back to idols, and back to like the perfectionism of Korea, they're expected to be top tier perfect. So I know some idols, if they're not perfect, they start blaming themselves, even though fans will love them no matter what. No matter if they fall, if they slip, if they're...
But I wonder if they say, like, oh, you know, like, I want to be perfect for you guys, but the, like, fans will be like, no, just be yourself. I wonder if that's still, like, an obligatory kind of reaction, whether they, like...
I think it is. I think it is.
So you believe that the fans just want the idols to be happy, or...
I think true fans do.
Okay.
I know, for example, like, in BTS, there's a lot of really supportive fans of the boys, and every time something happens, we're always ready to, like, be like, it's okay, it's okay. But there are people who are just like, man, I can't believe you messed up. Like, you're supposed to be better than this. And unfortunately, those idols do see it. They're on social media. They're not...
I wonder if it's also, like, the managers and all of, like, the company that gives them... I wonder who gives them more stress, the company or the fans?
I think the company gives them more physical stress, and the fans give them more mental stress. Because with the physical stress, they're out and about doing physical things until God knows when, and then the fans, they're worried about what the fans' reaction is going to be, so it's just everywhere. It's just, say this cup is the idol, it's just stress coming from all ends, and that is going to break someone.
Oh.
That is.
I truly don't... I truly believe I would never be able to handle that.
I was reading an article recently, and BTS V had said during their last tour, because it was so much work, he did feel burnt out. And I feel like luckily their company is quite supportive of them at this point. But imagine not having a supportive company and feeling burnt out and stressed.
Just flipping at 180, there is actually a change. On the bus trip here, we were talking about a company where an idol recently was like, hey, I'm a little bit different. Not specifically saying bi or pan or trans or anything, but this company did buy this person their first pair of high heels.
Yeah, it was Jokon. And it's public. He said that Big Hit, Pang Si-hyuk, he bought...
Wait, is he with Big Hit?
So 2 p.m. used to... Not 2 p.m., oh my gosh. 2 a.m. used to be under Big Hit. Because
yes,
Big Hit was under JYP at the time, and then Bang Si-hyuk decided to...
Okay, so my SD card was full. Camera battery died. So now we are switching to a different camera, and Milana is just currently trying to focus on my face because last week we had a lot of autofocus issues because I didn't realize it was an autofocus, but this means we have to manually focus. So now we are trying to manually focus. And I also don't know how loud I am because her camera is different from mine. Still Canon, so I still sort of understand it, but I may have to edit this, so this audio may be very distorted.
And the video might be a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So I've tried to... That's like basic technical stuff.
This fairy light just poked me. Anyways.
So, Jokwan has released a new...
Oh, no, this is definitely not new. This is like...
August, you said? No, the song was August.
No. Jokwan's Animal song came out... Let's see. 2012.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And during that video, he is wearing a pair of heels. And they're like Lady Gaga-esque heels. And I remember him saying how... Let me actually pull up the article. So recently, he came out as...
Non-binary?
Not... I don't know if it's...
Or a genderless.
Genderless, yeah.
So I don't know the difference between genderless and non-binary.
So he
I guess
said...
non-binary means you could be either, but genderless means you are neither.
I guess, yeah. So he said, being genderless is my weapon. In the past, I was afraid of having a neutral image. If people said I looked like a woman, I would pretend it wasn't true, but now I'm fine with it. I'm okay with people saying I look like Cheju or Taeyeon. He said, I have come to accept who I am. I have a weapon that will help me keep going for a long time ahead of the era without gender. And then he said, Bang Si-hyuk, the Big Hit CEO, asked him if he wanted to opt for a full commercial route for his promotion of the song Animal. And he told him he wanted to do a concept like Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Which at the time, not even really American artists did. Like that kind of the very...
I don't know what you mean.
You know how Lady Gaga back then was very like... What's the word I'm looking for? Unconventional.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess he wanted to go kind of that route. And wearing heels in Korea as a male for non-comedy purposes is very unconventional. So Bang Si-hyuk told him, Jo-kwon, listen to your hyung, which means older brother in Korean. If you try to throw a curveball, meaning a drag concept, into what is basically the cookie cutter K-pop image, there will be an impact, but it will require a long time. And then he still ended up buying Jo-kwon his first pair of heels.
Which were not the heels that were in the music video. Different.
It doesn't say.
Okay.
But he actually added in, I think the country's views on this are getting more attention and it's changing bit by bit. And he actually came out with saying this because he did a musical called Jamie, which is about a British teen, I believe, who was coming to terms with his sexuality and just being like, this is who I am. So him and 2 other idols had done this, which is amazing for Korea because the view of LGBTQ plus is really still not positively seen.
No. I mean, and the COVID outbreak in the Itaewon gay nightclub is still seen as, oh, it was the dirty foreigners, except for 95% of those people were Korean.
Right, and they were at gay clubs, so it was like, oh, the gay, dirty foreigners. Which we'll talk about how Korea blames foreigners another time.
But it's interesting, I went to HBC. So I went to HBC and I went to a drag show there around the time of my birthday, and a few of them were Korean and a few of them were, like, obviously foreigners. One of the artists I saw there, I don't know pronouns, it definitely is drag queen, but she, in her drag form, has just released an album, like 2 months ago, I want to say. And I think it was Korea Herald actually picked up on that and wrote an article about it, was front page. Hurricane Kimchi?
Oh, no.
Okay, Hurricane Kimchi. So super, got a lot of fame from that. And the fact that this, like, well-known news article, like news company, published an article about this, and it was in a positive light, like, hey, look at this person, they're amazing, shows that there is change that is coming.
There is, these 2 drag queens I follow on Instagram, and they both started, I think, the first, like, drag entertainment company here in Korea called Neon Milk.
Ooh, I like that name.
Yeah, and they were on some, like, YouTube videos, and, like, it was one, like, Koreans meet drag queens for the first time, and they're really trying to bring drag to a new light here in Korea, a more positive light, not just, oh, they're gay. Like, ew.
So we're talking about it before. Some of my students, I brought it up with my middle school students, like 12, 13, 14-year-olds. I was like, what do you guys think about same-sex marriage? What do you think about marijuana? Should it be legalized? Should both be legalized? And every student said yes. Gay people should get married. And one of my students was like, I like gay people. And yes, there was obviously a few laughs because
I mean, they're still young.
Yeah, they're still young. They're still learning, but the fact that these 13, 14-year-olds are so accepting of this.
Yeah. It's showing change. Like, I have friends who have left Korea because they just feel like they can't be themselves here. But it's slow, but their change is happening. And like I said earlier, I think the younger generation is really going to be is going to play a huge role in how Korea changes with like mental health, LGBTQ community, just everything.
I hope that in the future we do have the opportunity to have a drag queen or known Korean gay person come on this channel and be able to speak about it, because obviously, you know, we're coming from the perspective of two foreigners that are very
Right.
supportive of mental health, supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, but neither of us have really lived that community.
Right. We are just seeing it through the eyes of two random people.
Yeah. So while we hope for acceptance, we obviously...
Right. And of course, there can't be acceptance if people like us aren't accepting it. So I feel like it's also our job to bring the awareness as well.
And our being everyone, the viewers. If you're in Korea, bring, you know, just make sure that your students accept it and understand it.
Yeah. And I mean, it is kind of a risky topic to bring up with Korean students, but obviously I'm not going to bring it up to my 5-year-olds. But if you are teaching older kids, I mean, it might even show up in your textbook. I know that it's happened to other friends where it has shown up in their textbook, and they kind of worry about, do I even teach this? Because you don't know how the parents are going to react.
Yeah, because you know that with kids, they'll accept anything you teach them, but then they'll go home and be like, oh, we learned that, you know, love is love.
Right.
The parents, the principal, like, even if it's not in the curriculum.
Yeah.
So it is a touchy subject, but my view, and I'm very fortunate that I can come from this perspective, is I will do anything to make sure that these kids understand that love is love, that everyone is different, but everyone just wants the same thing.
Right.
If I lose my job, I'm willing to risk trying to find a new job just to make sure that these kids go, okay.
And as long as they feel, you know, comfortable, like, I want my students to be able to come up to me with any concern they have, like, teacher, I'm really not, like, mentally doing well. Okay, let's sit down and talk about it. Or, teacher, I think I like boys, or I think I like girls. Okay, great. Let's talk about it, and I want to make a safe space for them. And honestly, that you can always, if you are in this situation where you feel like you can't talk to someone about it, feel free to DM us.
We are always available.
Always available, and we will give you the support.
And that goes for, like, even not the LGBTQ plus community, but anyone.
Yeah.
Because I personally have suffered from some mental health.
I have too.
Depression, and it's just an anxiety and...
And you know what? I don't care what people tell you. It is natural to feel those things. Oh. It's 100% natural.
You can't always be happy. It's
no.
Physically, mentally impossible to always be happy.
There is nothing wrong with you if you have something that's hurting your mental health. And even though we were saying how, you know, the resources are limited, if you're a foreigner living in Korea, there are so many, like, expat groups here who are open to listening to your problems.
Like we mentioned last week, there are different expat groups, and there is specifically one for, is it just women's mental health, or is it just mental health?
I'm not sure.
I think there's a women's specific one, so if you are concerned about that, it will just be within the women community.
Yeah. I mean, any help for about anything. Like, I see posts about, like, really dark things. I see posts about, like, just everyday stresses. So you're not alone. There are resources to help you even if you can't get to a doctor. I mean, I do understand that some situations do have to be, like, medicated. And honestly, the expat groups do give a good amount of resources where you can find helpful doctors who can help you.
Well, we've talked for way too long, and I don't think I want to cut any of that out, because I think the discussion we've had has been very important. So I'm sorry if this is 40 minutes long.
It's a really important topic that I think needed to be addressed, and kind of early on.
Yeah. So let's finish with a more positive note.
Wait. The video.
Oh yeah, we will post. I will share a trailer for a video about mental health, Korean students' mental health. It hasn't come out yet. I am friends with one of the producers, I think she is. She's currently in the middle of color correction, so that's like one of the almost final steps is color correction. That's like second last or last step. So it will be coming out soon, but I will post the trailer for it if you guys, at the end of this video.
Yeah. Anyways, that was really heavy, but it did need to be addressed. Anyways, let's talk about something a little bit lighter.
So in Australia, when you get pizza, you just get pizza.
Right. Maybe in America, you might get some cheese sticks on the side. I don't know, some wings. I haven't been in America for a long time now. I don't remember what Americans get with their pizza, to be honest.
But in Korea, it's pretty standard that you'll get maybe some hot sauce of some sort and also pickles. So you looking for the pickles?
Yes, I am.
They're in my bag.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay.
Too far.
These pickles are...
They're sweet pickles.
But here's the thing. I'm Australian and we don't really have pickles. We get pickles on our McDonald's burger, but that's the only time I've ever seen them.
I'm from America. I sit in front of my TV just with a jar of pickles and just eating them. Some people might find that gross. Some people might
See, that's my
match
dream. That's my goal. I would love that.
Some kosher dill pickles or some deli style pickles. Man, now I'm really homesick.
So, me having grown up, my mum also hates pickles, so we never had it. And I grew up taking the pickles off my McDonald's burger before, but one day I forgot to, and I took a bite and I was like, this is delicious. Why have I been taking these off?
Man, if the only pickles you're eating though are McDonald's burger pickles, you have not tasted a good pickle.
Exactly. But so that's why I'm happy to have my sweet pickles, because it's pickles.
I, for one, am kind of more of the salty, soury, kosher dill type pickle girl. Sweet pickles, they're there. I'll eat them. But they just don't hit it the same way as a nice jar of pickles would.
I tried making pickles in year 10, 11, 12. I used to really enjoy making lunch for myself. Mm-hmm. And especially in year 12, I went through a big Japanese lunch phase, and every day I would take these cute bento boxes, and I tried to make pickles, and they tasted exactly like that. I used a Japanese recipe too.
My grandma makes pickles often. She'll get huge boxes of pickles from the local farmer.
Cucumbers.
Right, cucumbers. Oh my gosh. She'll get a box of cucumbers. A huge box. And sometimes she'll even get tomatoes to pickle. Ooh. And then she just she does everything from scratch. And they're bomb. I'm gonna maybe if you want to see me try and make them, it's a long process. It takes I think at least a week. But anyways, let us know in the comments below if you like pickles or not. Yeah.
Also, let us know if you have any views on the mental health side as well.
Yeah.
On the LGBT side, if you'd like to see us interview some of these people in that community to find out what they think.
Please just keep the discussions in the comments kind, and
we will turn off comments if it gets unkind.
We
will ban. We
don't play games.
We don't.
Especially about topics like this.
Now, if you want to debate about corn on pizza, go ahead.
Or sweet pickles versus kosher pickles versus pickles are disgusting or pickles are the most heavenly thing in the world. That is also a great topic.
We do have high tea and stuff.
And we do have a Twitter account.
We have Instagram and Twitter.
Unless you really like BTS, don't look for me on Twitter. That's all I retweet.
I'm cutting all this out.
No, you're not.
Bye.
Bye.
공부 왜 하는 거 같아?
공부?
응.
나중에 꿈 때문에.
꿈 때문에. 수험생이 감정을 가질 자격이 있을까?